welcome back to Social MD Examination, where we actually do sort of an overall examination of what's going on with your social media and how you market online overall. Our expert, as always, Marsha Muhammad from Social MD. You'll find them on the Insta, Social MD team. It's a good follow. All kinds of great advice there, so I'll recommend it. Hi, Marsha.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Now, I'll recommend you go back in time because although you might think some of this stuff is very timely, in fact, a lot of what we're learning here on this series of podcasts is helpful to just the way you think about online marketing overall. And the bonus is that everything new that happens and everything kind of cool that is taking place out there, usually Marsha covers off on it first right here.
On the podcast.
On the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcasting good. Not podcasting bad.
No.
What are we talking about today?
So today we're going to talk about how to promote your brand on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of questions. You know that I do Marketing Mondays every other week.
Yes.
And I get a lot of feedback. The people are really curious on how to promote their brand. So I thought that would be a good topic for today.
I think it is. In fact, you and I have had a discussion as I desperately said to you, oh, please help me with my LinkedIn strategy.
You're like, Marsha, link me up on my LinkedIn.
That's exactly right. So I'm very curious to hear what some of the feedback has been from people and some of the questions. Let's do this.
So we'll quickly go through a few of these tips that will help them promote their brand.
Okay.
First is to interact and engage with other professionals. Now, I know, Mike, I know that's hard. You don't like to engage too much with other professionals.
I'm very in a shell.
But that's it. So you have to get out of your shell.
Okay.
And open the door a little bit, let people in, touchy-feely.
Hey, everybody.
So that's it. You have to interact. You got to show up. You've got to
Right.
engage. And that's the whole thing is how you grow your community.
Okay.
So once you've started to interact and you're showing you're there to party, you're going to move on to publishing content. So if you start to connect with the brands that you actually are prospecting and you've decided, okay, you've asked them to connect and they have, well, if you want to be seen, you have to publish content.
Right.
If you don't publish content, you're not going to populate on their feed. So how would they even know about your brand?
Right.
So it's not just about, showing up and getting people to engage with you and sending them a DM, which is another conversation for another podcast. But you want to put content and put it to show them that you are an industry leader. That is one of the biggest goals on LinkedIn. You want to show them that you are an industry leader in what it is. So Mike, you are an industry leader in podcasting. And I know you have a hard time showing people how much of a leader you are, but that's what it is about, is showing people you've been in the industry for a long time. And I know you don't like to toot your own horn. I know that.
A lot of people. Sorry. I've had this terrible fever and this cough for a couple of days. Just kidding. I think
there's a Q-tip, Mike.
They hit your brain with it. Edit. I better find that. 3-0 edit. I think a lot of people in business want to promote their business, but tooting your own horn is not fun.
No, and how I suggest doing it is not saying, hey, come and, this is Mike. But the best way to actually toot your own horn is talk about what you know. Showcase your expertise. Show them that you know what you're talking about. So if you started to produce content, I'll use an example, sharing the community why a certain brand of mics are really good for podcasting, or the sequence of starting your own podcast, or, how to post this on platforms to be seen. Those are not directly talking about you, but it's actually showcasing that you know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's a great way to position.
Yeah. So
without being like, hey, me.
That's it. So making sure publish content so people can engage. So next is generating leads through groups. So if you are on LinkedIn or if you're not familiar, there's just like Facebook groups. LinkedIn has professional groups. So I would suggest looking at groups that may have customers or clients that you're looking for and joining the groups and contributing. I'm not talking about pitching. I'm talking about contributing. If there's topics that are being spoken about, you can showcase your business or yourself as an expert by answering questions in those groups or posing questions.
So maybe you join an industry group that is not exactly your own.
No.
Because you want to reach out for new clients.
Exactly. So I'm a marketer. I'm in social media. I'm not going to go into maybe a social media group, but I may go in a small business group and answer questions they have about marketing.
Right. Gotcha.
Even for you as a podcast, you might go in a small business or a business platform where people are looking for different types of content. Well, that's a great groups for you because you can showcase why podcasting could be a great piece of content.
Gotcha.
So the next one is looking for referrals. So you look for referrals. And what I mean by that is that if you're in your network and you say, you know what, Mike, I have some clients that'll be a good fit for podcasting, and I send you referrals. Well, you know what? You'll probably do the same for me. You'll look at referrals and send to me. So on LinkedIn, it's really great to find people in your industry that you can send clients to, and just good karma and paying it forward.
Right.
It'll come back to you. So that's another good tip there. Last and not least is be consistent.
Okay.
And you hear me talk about it all the time.
Not just with timing, but also with the quality, I would assume, of content, the kind of content that you put up there to share.
That's it. Show up and make sure that you're doing consistent.
Be answering those questions. Be responding to people putting out requests to you and connections and that sort of thing.
That's exactly it.
I see.
I'd rather you do 2 a week than promise to do 5 and keep hitting it. So one week you're doing 1, the next week you're doing 3.
Right.
Commit to something that's realistic. And then if you got into that groove and you think that you still have time to do more with the same quality, then you can increase.
Sometimes there's a reason to deep dive too, that will take you back to LinkedIn several days in a row following the discussion or following that group or that lead.
Yes.
Be prepared to do that, I would say.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's not a hard, tips here, but you have to, the thing is, it does take some time. It does take some effort, but if you strategize it well and you start with small steps, you could still make a difference that people can get to know your brand.
Get a strategy together today for LinkedIn and many other ways to market online by reaching out to Marsha. Where can people do that?
They can follow me on Instagram at Social MD Team.
Social MD Team.
And they can call me at 647-889-2673.
That number again?
647-889-2673.
One more time with that number.
647-889-2673. Sounds like a 967 number.
Yeah. Now, the way you said it does, actually. And by the way, anybody who remembers 967 numbers, you are definitely in our target demographic.
And lastly, as I mentioned before, I do Marketing Mondays every other week. And the next one I'm doing is, I think it's December the 14th. If that's a Monday. Yeah, December the 14th. So I do that every other Monday. It's a free webinar. And if you go on my Instagram, you can register on Evite and, join us and answer questions.
Thanks for doing this today.
No problem. Thank you, Mike.
We'll catch you next time.
All right, you take care.